Social Security offices around the nation are now taking a record number of pull-out requests, applications from state and local employers who want to drop out of the Social Security system. The financial troubles of the system have caused almost 900 state and local employers nationwide to withdraw from the system. Most of the withdrawals have been during the past 2 years, and the greatest percentage has been from hospitals, such as Midwest City Hospital. They filed to pull out of the ailing Social Security system effective January 1985. Tom Heron, vice president of the Midwest City Hospital, says they can get more for their money without Social Security.
We feel like that we can actually purchase better programs for our employees with the same dollars that we're funding for them into the Social Security program.
If they're going to consider terminating their coverage, that they need to look at both sides of the program, pros and the cons. They need to look at, if they're going to get out, then they need to look at the other system and have an actuarial study done of their system to see which would be to their best benefit. If it were down to the bottom line, I would encourage them to stay.
Purser says despite the rising number of employers withdrawing from Social Security, 90% of all state and local employees in Oklahoma are still paying into the system. Debbie Mash, Action 4.
The picture at the Oklahoma Employment Office is not improving much. Job seekers are filling out more and more unemployment claims each week. The situation is making hundreds of people give up hope of ever finding a job, thus producing a record number of the so-called discouraged workers. In many families, the discouraged worker syndrome has just about taken over completely.
Right now, I'm feeling I'm about ready to give up. But I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep trying because I have to. We have a family, and I'm going to see to my family that is supported.
It's rough on me, my wife, my kids, and our dependents.
For many of the state's jobless, being without work is a new and painful experience. Unemployed teacher Lois Cottenham says disappointment day after day breeds discouraged workers, even though the employment office tries to offer hope.
I get discouraged every day because even before I go to the job, I ask myself, are you hiring or are you just taking an application? We're hiring. And when you get there, we just take an application, but then that upsets you. You be wanting to just holler and scream and cry because, you know, you got a family to support. I know I do.
We're doing as much job development as we can. We're limited as to the number of places that we can search for work because, as you know, the manufacturing industry is way depressed. The service jobs seem to be the most available at this time.
Officials now handle between 55 to 60,000 unemployment claims a week statewide. The administration expects a turnaround for the better this coming spring. But by that time, many discouraged workers say the damage of long-term unemployment may be irreversible. Ed Stewart, Action 4.
The death of this woman, Karen Silkwood, started a legal whirlwind, and it's not over yet. Silkwood worked at this Kerr-McGee plant in Cimarron, Oklahoma. It's alleged she was contaminated by plutonium at the plant. In 1974, the 28-year-old Silkwood died in a car accident. She was on her way to meeting with a New York Times reporter to discuss allegations of contamination problems at the plant. Silkwood's family hired the renowned trial lawyer Jerry Spence to sue Kerr-McGee. The family won a judgment for $10.5 million. $10 million of that amount was awarded as punitive damages under state law. An appellate court in Denver overturned the trial court's decision. The court said federal law, which had no provision for punitive damages, should have been applied in the Silkwood case. But today, the Silkwood family's local attorneys received good news. The United States Supreme Court has agreed to hear the merits of the case.
The immunity against punitive damages that the 10th Circuit decreed is enjoyed by no other industry. And it is ironic that an industry and an activity that pose such a potential danger would be the one to enjoy this unique immunity against punitive damages which are ordinarily available to punish and to deter reckless activity.
What the court did was simply say that they did want to have briefs and oral argument, so we've got one more step to go, but we remain confident that at the end of the line they will agree with Kerr-McGee's legal position.
So now Kerr-McGee and Bill Paul have to prepare for the final round against the family of Karen Silkwood. For both sides, it's more than just an argument over points of law. The Silkwood case has become a battle of principle, ego, and money. Bill Ross, Action 4, at the offices of Kerr-McGee.
An officer responded to a burglary in progress call, 2 officers actually, and chased the burglar out of the house south from this location. The suspect was warned several times to halt. He did not. One officer fired 1 shot from his shotgun.
There's a lot more to hospitals than just doctors and nurses. 75 policemen patrol the grounds of Oklahoma Memorial and Children's Hospital. Cafeteria food service workers prepare meals for patients and staff. And clerks push the paper which keeps the hospital running. 2 weeks from now, 250 of the hospital's policemen, food servers, and clerks will be fired. It's a matter of economics. The welfare department operates on sales tax collections. Those collections have been down lately. The department hopes to make up $2.5 million of the shortfall by laying off 250 hospital employees. The plan is not popular with hospital workers.
Yes, to cut staff here, I don't think we're going to be able to do the job that we're doing at the present time.
Yeah, security going to suffer because we need every man we can get in this department.
The idea really scares me because I'm not from Oklahoma, really, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to go back. I'm from Portsmouth, Arkansas, and job opportunities there are even worse, and if I have to go back, I'm afraid I'll be in even worse shape than I am now.
This may not be the last of the layoffs. The welfare department plans to ask the legislature for some additional money to get through this fiscal year. And if that money does not come through, and if sales tax collections continue to decline, then this hospital may have to lay off some more employees, perhaps within the next few weeks. Scott Wallace, Action 4 at Oklahoma Memorial Hospital.
More and more people are fed up with drunk drivers on Oklahoma highways. And starting April 1st, the administrative per se law will go into effect, making life tougher on those who decide to drink and drive. Basically, the law allows police and troopers to take a person's driver's license away on the spot without going through the courts, but only if the driver fails or refuses to take a breathalyzer test. The Oklahoma Highway Safety Department will be studying how well the law works through a grant from the federal government. Officials say the study is a must.
The importance of this study is that a lot of other states are going to look at this type of law because all states are reviewing their DUI legislation. And they're going to want to know if it works, and they're going to want to know how to implement it. And so we're getting the study as more of the idea is, hey, Oklahoma, you're really doing something great, and we applaud your efforts, and we want to get the message out to the other states.
The study on the new law is expected to be finished by September 30th. Officials say the data found from this research could decide if drunk driver laws are saving lives. And the Highway Safety Department is expecting results to show more young people in Oklahoma will not drink and drive if the laws are tougher. Ed Stewart, Action 4 at the Oklahoma Transportation Department.
We had a wind factor for one thing, and then we had a steel roof on this thing, and it came down, you know. It doesn't take that much heat for a steel roof to come in. If you're inside, you've got the possibility of this roof coming down, and we don't get to attack this like we would a regular house, you know, on account of that. It's such a big span in there.
That's one. Asking who has a point of comment, channel 4.
What happens is that they have found a component that is subject to failure. Doesn't mean that 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 25 or even 1 out of 100 is going to lock up. What it means is we have found a component that has had enough accidents or failures that we feel like that it's, or General Motors feels like, that it's necessary or probably prudent to recall these things and replace that component.
There was an outbreak of hepatitis in daycare centers last spring. It appears that working mothers are taking their children to daycare centers at an earlier age. So in 1982, there were more than 1,400 reported hepatitis cases in Oklahoma. One cannot blame the economy or malnutrition for the upsurge. One has to take a look at daycare centers.
It is mostly transferred as a result of people going to the bathroom and not washing their hands completely after using the bathroom, and as a result it becomes transmittable.
Hepatitis is a liver disease found throughout the world, but one has to give special attention to the world of children, where the disease seems to be the most prevalent and spreads the most rapidly. Bella Shaw, Action 4.
The First Southern Baptist Church of Del City has wanted to build a new church on this land at Southeast 29th and Sooner Road for more than a year. But in the last few months, there has been opposition. The proposed church is near Tinker Air Force Base, and that location is the problem. Dr. Bailey Smith says there's no need to worry. He points out the proposed church is 1.25 miles from Tinker. But according to Smith, some Tinker officials have waged a campaign to prevent Oklahoma City and Midwest City from issuing building permits. The church paid for a half-page ad in the Daily Oklahoman to state its case. The ad says more than $4 million was spent in reliance on statements by local government officials that everything was okay. The church says the new location is not in a regularly used flight path, that only a seldom used auxiliary runway has any relationship to the proposed location. No one from Tinker would appear on camera, but the Air Force has released this document. It says that a runway on the base would be 6,500 feet away from the proposed church, and it concludes that the proposed site would result in safety and noise problems that would not be in the best interests of the community, the church, or Tinker. Dr. Smith says the real issue is whether the new church would have an adverse economic impact on the area. Some people say having a church near the base would mean fewer missions for Tinker. It's feared that would mean fewer jobs and less money for greater Oklahoma City.
Friday, my attorney and I went to the Pentagon. I had written to President Reagan.
The White House forwarded the letter to James Boatwright at the Pentagon. Boatwright talked to Smith.
I called Mr. Boatwright at the Pentagon again today and asked him if I could quote him. He said, "You certainly may." And what he said is, this situation with your church is absolutely no threat to Tinker Air Force Base.
The whole thing is the concern for Tinker and its mission. But how long is one of these guarantees good for? Is it good for the people that are in office at this particular time, or the people that are running the Pentagon? What if they come up with new missions that they haven't foreseen at this time?
Smith said a Pentagon official would be in town to meet with Tinker representatives on Thursday. Bill Ross, Action 4 at Tinker Air Force Base.
I came a few miles because I knew it was here, so it's well worth it. I mean, it's 20 cents cheaper than what I pay in Edmond. Kind of surprising, it's been a few years. Last gas lines I saw was in, I don't know, a couple years back with a shortage. Now I guess there's too much. Kind of reminds me of the old-time wars I used to hear about.
Yeah, we came all the way from Chandler just to get gas.
What do you think about this?
It's something. It's $1.09 and $1.15 in Chandler. It's higher up there.
One of the major exhibitions, if not the major exhibition to come to Oklahoma City in 1983. Since 1975, it has been on view at the Lehman Collection Wing of the Metropolitan. This is the first time it will be coming down off the walls and is being sent to this museum.
Smaller cars, more efficient cars, and right now they're buying the larger of our smaller cars. We've downsized all cars, but the larger cars, the A's, the B's, and the C's are selling the best. Oh, I'm just real pleased, and I know the people that have been out there out of work will be real pleased at the news, and we're just looking forward to it. It's just a lot more fun to run them on 2 shifts than 1 shift.
The wind hampered our efforts. People going down Classen to work this morning, unfortunately, were driving over some of our lines, busting the couplings, which slowed down the firefighting effort.
Custer's Revenge gained nationwide attention the minute it hit the shelves. The game involves scoring points by maneuvering a naked general so he can sexually assault an Indian girl. Indian officials find the game very offensive, and they want the sale and distribution of the game halted. Today, officials of the Native American Center held a press conference here in Oklahoma City. They expressed their disappointment in city officials for not taking a firmer stand on the issue. They also say the game promotes racism and violence.
After viewing video footage of the game and talking with people who actually viewed the game, there's just there is no way that we could not take a stand against it. This game is racist, it's sexist, and it promotes sexual violence in the form of rape against women. It sends out the message that it's all right to be racist and sexist, and it's all right to rape women.
Even though organizations from the NAACP to the AFL-CIO have pledged their support to oppose the sale of Custer's Revenge, it remains a popular item. In fact, one adult store that carries the game has already sold out of their inventory, and shipments are due in Monday or Tuesday. But the Native American organization plans to picket that location Monday morning at 11 o'clock. And the threat of that picket has prompted the store managers to think about removing Custer's Revenge from their shelves for good. Kevin Ogle, Action 4.
The government has come to the definite conclusion that income tax forms are too confusing. This year, taxpayers will notice that some of the forms have been simplified. What has been dubbed the EZ form will help Americans with limited income and few deductions. But unfortunately, most taxpayers don't fall into that category. But Uncle Sam still wants to help. The IRS has a program called Volunteers in Tax Assistance, or VITA. They will teach you how to fill out your own tax return. Another new program this year is Teletax. The Oklahoma City IRS office has several phone banks where you can call and listen to a pre-recorded message on the tax problem of your choice. And if none of these alternatives work, you can visit with a person called the Problem Resolution Officer.
The Problem Resolution Office is set up to resolve problems that a taxpayer has been unable to resolve by using our normal systems, by calling in. If you've made 2 attempts to get your problem resolved with our normal taxpayer service system, then you can ask for the Problem Resolution Officer. Then your problem will be controlled until it is resolved.
The Internal Revenue Service is a big agency, and there are bound to be mistakes. But if you can't get your problems resolved by the Problem Resolution Officer here in the city, the IRS headquarters in Washington probably won't be much help either.
We do get some complaints, usually in writing. We do get some phone calls from taxpayers. But basically, we're involved with setting IRS policy, procedures, and guidance to our field offices across the country.
If you're having tax problems and the Internal Revenue Office in Oklahoma City cannot help you for some reason, Washington is not your next move. You'll find no satisfaction here. Your next step should be to contact the Internal Revenue Office in Austin, Texas. With Tax 883, Kurt Autry, Action 4, Washington. Cotton is king in Tillman County. This southwest Oklahoma community is the state's top cotton-producing area. In recent years, industries like Schlegel Manufacturing and Aviol have settled in Frederick. Now some folks would like to add a third leg to the community's economic base. For the past 2 years, the Frederick Chamber of Commerce has been talking to the Corrections Department about building a medium-security prison in Tillman County. The recession has hurt local retailers, and nobody's getting rich growing cotton these days. Some people like the idea of building a prison in Frederick. Some don't.
When the people get out of the prison, they seem to stay around the town, and it's just, like I say, too many undesirables to be around the town, and we've got too much trouble now here in this town, and the people can't take care of it that run the city, so what are they going to do with the prison up here?
This is strictly an agricultural community, and we've seen what has happened to the farmer in the last year or so. And to increase the entire trade area so far as retail sales, I think this would be a very, very big boon to this part of the country.
The Chamber of Commerce is well aware of the opposition to their prison plans, so they plan to take a delegation of senior citizens and farmers who oppose the prison to Lexington and Hominy, Oklahoma, so that delegation can get a first-hand look at life in other Oklahoma prison towns. Scott Wallace, Action 4 in Frederick.
We want to be a self-supporting operation, so we feel like the consignment store and the support of the people will help us keep it going. I mean, you can either donate your clothes or we'll sell them on consignment, and you get 50% of whatever they sell for, you know. So we'll have money coming in all the time. We don't have to depend on calling people.
As the bug bounces back from last winter, which was the mildest flu season recorded in 6 years, so do certain sales of over-the-counter flu medication. In fact, according to a pharmaceutical data service, drug sales are up more than 25% this year compared to last. But as over-the-counter medication sales go up, the demand for prescription medicines has stayed basically the same. For the first 11 months of 1982, there has been only a 1% increase in prescription dispensing.
So they don't have to go to the doctor and pay for an office call, which will run them $30 or more, and then pay for a prescription, which is a lot more expensive than buying something over the counter that costs somewhere from $1 to $3 or $4. It's a lot cheaper for them that way.
The flu and over-the-counter medication may create a snowball effect. When people become ill and try to treat that illness with non-prescription medicine, they may stay sick longer, passing the flu bug on to other people. And as the flu season grows, so do the bank accounts of many of the nation's major pharmaceutical companies. Kurt Autry, Action 4.
The federal government wants your home to be energy efficient. In fact, if your home was built before April 20th of 1977, you can get a $2,000 tax break. This is how it works. You can make the home improvements from now until April of 1985. In this 3-year span, you can spend up to $2,000 and still qualify for this credit. But you can only deduct 15% a year until you reach that $2,000 limit. So once you reach the $2,000 limit, you will never be able to get this tax break again.
And the energy tax credits are available for energy-saving repairs that you make to a house that was built prior to April 20th, 1977. Any repairs that you made that would qualify as energy-saving repairs, you get a 15% tax credit on the first $2,000 that you expend. Now, that $2,000 is not an annual number, that's a cumulative number over time since April 20th, 1977.
The only bad thing about this tax break is that you really can't make a lot of energy improvements for under $2,000. Installing these storm doors and windows alone would cost close to $2,000 for the average home. And remember, your tax break is only 15% of what you spend on energy improvements in 1 year. With Tax Aid 83, Kurt Autry, Action 4.
Now we need Reagan here is what we need. Yeah, you got that right.